Phoenix, Arizona, March 20, 1940.
And did you grow up wanting to be a cowboy?
Well, I grew up farm and ranch, so I was one whether I wanted to be or not.
Did you compete in any type of junior rodeo or anything like that?
Way back then, there was only two junior rodeos I remember. I did go to those, but my main deal was jackpot team roping.
And what was your first competition? How old were you when you first competed?
Well, competitively, probably 17.
And then, what events did you compete
When the calves were small enough, I roped calves and team roped.
in? You never tried any of the rough stock?
No, I wasn't brave enough.
What was it about rodeo that made you want to keep doing it and make it part of make it a career?
Well, my career was farming and ranching, and I just team roped at jackpots and went to rodeos when I could. And rodeos had some of the better team roping.
Did you have anyone that you looked up to, like a mentor or an idol in team roping?
He probably didn't realize it, but when I first started, it was the team tie, and Fred Darnell I thought was the best. So I watched every movie made and learned from that.
And what's the difference between team tying and team roping?
Well, all the head catches are the same, both horns, half head, and around the neck. With the team tying, the ropes are tied to the saddle horn, and you tried to handle a steer so the heeler could get 2 feet. It was easier to tie them. And then the header gets off, ties a double knot below the hocks and above the dewcloths, and throws hands in the air for time.
So you had to tie the steer once he'd been roped.
Yeah, with a double knot like a square knot or a granny knot.
Oh. When did you join the RCA?
1958.
And did you travel to rodeos with anyone, or did you just go alone?
There was only 2 years I traveled, but that was with my partner Joe Glenn, and the only team ropings they had out of state basically were in California. So he was retired, so he'd stay there and take care of horses, and I'd fly home and farm and ranch till time to go back, fly back over.
So tell me a little bit about Joe Glenn. What kind of a person was he?
Well, he's quite a bit older than me. Most everybody thought as he'd being so grouchy, how could you get along with him? But if you knew him well, he wasn't that way. How I started roping with him is I was roping with my dad at Tucson. I think it was 1965. My dad missed a steer, a really good steer. I didn't know it, but he went right out of the arena. I went to Joe and asked him if he'd rope with me. Joe told him to go over there and cool off, but he didn't cool off. So, but Joe tried to get him to. So I roped with him from 65 till I kind of slowed down about 1970.
Were you a header or a heeler?
Headed.
Did you ever heel?
Yeah, after I quit going to the rodeos and stuff, I healed quite a bit. Healed for my daughter and my grandson.
Which did you prefer?
Well, as I got older, I preferred healing because it wasn't quite so strenuous.
It's not much as much. What's the word I'm looking for?
Pull from the
Yeah.
steer.
Yeah. All right. So my next question is, what was it like to go to that first national finals rodeo in 1959?
When we got there, it was beautiful. The next morning, everybody was at the store trying to find warm clothes because the northerner had come in. It was horrible. First Dally steer, when I faced my horse, he slipped down because the ground was frozen. So that's the only thing I can tell you is it was frozen and horrible.
Horrible. How did you do at that first final?
We placed a couple times, but horrible.
So what was the team roping like then when it was in the Clayton and not with the rest of the finals?
What was it like?
Well,
Not
because-
with it?
Well, because the team roping was held separate from the national finals, and so you went to the team roping finals. What was that? The Clayton, New Mexico one like?
Well, I think I just said.
That was a cool.
Yeah, it was. It was exciting to go to the finals because we've never had it before, but at Clayton it's horrible. The next year they had it separate at Scottsdale. That was nice because I could drive home every night, and of course the weather's perfect. And I won second there that year in the average. I could tell you a story about that too. When they decided to have the first finals, John Bowman was roping with Ted Ashworth in California. He called my dad and asked him why didn't we have me and Ted rope at the final, because John said, I can't tie the knot and you can't dolly, so it's going to be half and half. And my dad said, well, I think that's a good idea, but how do we know they're going to make it? And he said, well, I see Art's already placed at 2 rodeos, that's probably enough. So that's why I roped with Ted at the first 2. And then the third one they had at Santa Maria, California, and the weather's nice there too. And it was great to rope with my dad.
What was the feeling about, like, because I know the finals was a new concept, when, like this invitational rodeo kind of thing. How did the Cowboys feel about that? Did they think it was going to be a good thing, or what?
I think everybody thought it was going to be a good thing. The way it happened started out it turned out it wasn't too good for the contestants. I mean, well, for instance, I think the first, well, all the years I went, the highest any team roper ever made at the finals was $1,100. The most I ever won was $700 and $600. In both the years I won second. So as a payoff deal, it wasn't that good, but it was exciting because it was national final.
Was there always kind of this prestige built around it?
I think most everybody felt that way.
What was your favorite finals?
Favorite final?
Yeah, the favorite finals that you went to.
That's tough. I guess it'd have to be when I won the 1968 championship, but I actually had it won before I went, so that didn't make it quite so. But just because it was a championship, yeah, that's my favorite.
Now, had they joined the team roping with the rest of the events by the time 68 was?
No.
No? I can't remember when.
Oh, wait a minute. I know, maybe I didn't understand the question.
So the team roping event was separate for the first few years of the finals, and then by 68 had they moved it in
With
the
the other-
Yeah,
with the other-
yes, they had.
So what was it like then to be with, after having been at the ones that were separate, what was it like to be with all the rest of the events?
It was more exciting, I think, mainly because of the grand entry. Because, well, it's the same then as it is now. And plus, the people would bring horses for somebody to ride that in the grand entry that maybe didn't want to ride theirs in it, or didn't, like the riders didn't have one. And some of them bucked harder than the competition horses. Some of the bronc riders would get bucked off every once in a while.
I've heard that the grand entry horses can be quite temperamental.
It was kind of, because we rode our own horses, it's kind of fun to watch. Hmm. I don't know how to answer that. I guess winning. That's the best memories I can have of it.
What was it like to win that '68 world title? I mean, you said it was a little anticlimactic, but was it still neat to be the world champion?
Well, it was really great, and it was very satisfying.
Were you given the buckle that day, or did you have to wait for it to get it? Because didn't they used to award them in Denver?
Yes, that's what we had to do, go to Denver, get our buckle and the saddle. Mm-hmm.
So was it a little, like, were you impatient to get everything, or?
Oh, not really, because we knew they'd done it that way, so no.
Oh.
I mean, yeah, we really wanted it, but
It's the only way to get it.
yeah, exactly.
How have you seen rodeo change from when you competed to now?
Well, money and livestock. I just said a while ago, the most anybody wanted was team roping, $1,100. Look at it now. One of the thing. Oh, I don't have to have a drink. Maybe that's the wrong thing to do.
So the question is, how have you seen rodeo change other than money?
One of the main things about the team roping, the years I competed, they didn't have it at Pendleton, didn't have it at Cheyenne. And I think about 2006, they made it a standard event. And then they had it at the winter rodeos in Texas. So each time they did something like that, it made it better and more money, which never happened when I was doing that, but I was glad to see it for the guys that was going then and now.
Where do you see rodeo going in the future?
Well, every year it seems a little bigger and a little better, and you always say, well, it can't get any bigger, better, but I see it getting bigger and better.
What were some of your favorite rodeos to go to?
Have to be Prescott, Arizona, and Salinas, California. One of the reasons is it's really hot in Buckeye that time of year. Prescott's up in the mountains, it's a little cooler, a lot cooler. And Salinas, same, it's always nice at Salinas. You usually need a light jacket sometime. We always treated it as a vacation because you go to San Juan Bautista to the rodeo the week before, and Jim Rodriguez have jackpots, and then you roped every day at Salinas. It was like a vacation.
Is it a longer score at Salinas still?
Yeah. Some say 30 feet, but I swear it's 35.
Did you like bigger arenas or the smaller arenas?
Well, we didn't get to go to very many smaller arenas, so I guess I have to say bigger.
Who are some of your biggest competitors?
Well, just start with for the first several years, Jim Rodriguez Jr. He, first year I went, he was 18, I was 19, and he won the championships, and he won several of them. The year I won in 1968, it was the Cabarrillas. It was the biggest. So
What were they like to compete against?
it's just tough.
So, tell me about your horses. How many did you have, and did you train them, that kind of thing?
Well, right at first, my dad single steer roped, and we had ranch horses. We're good at team tying, and that's all I did at first. It took a few years to learn the dolly part, and those horses weren't too good for it anyway, but About the time I was starting to dolly a little more, why, I ran out of horses. I bought a good horse from Ralph Naramore. I had him about 3 months, and he was really good, and he broke a bone in his foot. So that ended that. The only other horse I could find was a tie-down horse. And I don't think he lasted that long. He broke a hind leg. I don't think my luck was too good with horses right then. So we raised horses on the desert ranch, and I picked what I thought might be the best one, and I took, about a year probably, a lot of time with him and trained him. Named him Waco, and I couldn't really remember why we named him Waco till my daughter reminded me my uncle had a horse named Waco Scamp, so he ran really good on the track, so we called him Waco. And he lasted basically my whole rodeo time, and he was good at both ends, the dolly and the team tie.
What made him so good?
Just time I took with him, I think, and he wanted to do it.
What were some major obstacles that you came up against?
We just talked about them, horses.
How do you think being involved in rodeo shaped you as a person?
Probably a lot of ways, but taught you a lot about math, figuring out what you might get paid. And it taught me to take the ups with the downs, or the vice versa, and at least me, to be humble.
What do you think you've learned the most from rodeo?
Basically that. Of course, back then we farmed and ranched, and the ropings and the rodeos didn't pay that much. So if it didn't pay to go, we didn't go. So I guess you'd have to say you learned finances more than anything else.
About how many rodeos did you go to in a year?
Not that many. I can't, I don't know, probably maybe 35. The year before I won the championship, there was only one then. There wasn't a header and a heeler. And Joe Glenn, my partner, you could rope twice at some of the smaller rodeos. And he was ahead of me, so the other contestants were getting pretty close, so we went to California. And that year we went to 58. The next year when I won it, I wasn't going to go again because I didn't want to go that hard. I had a bunch of pasture cattle on the desert, and from March when they had the Phoenix Rodeo till I shipped them off in first of June, I didn't go to a rodeo. Joe Glenn come, and my family talked me into going. I wasn't going to go. I went to Santa Maria to the rodeo, and when I went up to pay mine and Joe's entry fees, the secretary told me that the Camarillas were within $300. I told Joe when I got back down there, I said, "Why did you get me to come there already within $300? He said, "Well, you wouldn't have come if I'd have told you that." But I was so hot. I only went to 29 rodeos, but I was so hot, it didn't matter.
Would you say that was your best year, you think?
Definitely.
What was your favorite part about competing in rodeo?
Well, I think I said that already, was winning. Other than that, well, you like competition or you wouldn't go, I guess. But if you didn't win, especially us, we couldn't go.
Give me an idea of what some of your expenses were like compared to what they are today.
Pardon me?
Like, for example, how much was gas or a meal or a hotel room or something like that?
Well, it's still comparatively, or maybe even less so. You didn't even think about it because it was that cheap. And now, I mean, you better think about it. So,
If you could give a rookie team member a piece of advice, what would it be?
well, they didn't have them back when I was doing it, but go to a school and then pick somebody you think's the best at what you're doing and watch them and learn from them.
Did you ever teach any schools afterwards?
No, I gave a few pointers, but a few people tried to get me to, but I just didn't want to.
What did you do after rodeo?
Farmed and ranch.
What was it like when you got the call telling you you were going to be inducted into the Pro Rodeo Hall of Fame?
Emotional.
And so what does this induction mean to you?
I don't know if you can describe that. It's seeing the names that I'll be in there with. It's got to be the greatest thing ever.